And we are live. Here I have the man himself, Devolt. How are you doing? He's an absolute pro in technical analysis, and he's going to share a little bit of his insights today on Bitcoin. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me again, Andy. I know that you've been super busy moving from Spain to Dubai. Completely understandable. I can see there from the background, you're still finding your feet, still trying to get moved into your house. And we've started doing a couple of collabs together. And then you made the massive move to Dubai. So I think, my community, your community, we all understand. And one of these days, you're going to be in an awesome studio doing some awesome professional videos. So thanks for having me, and thanks for letting us do this again. I think we're going to start doing this a little bit more often, like I promised my
Yeah,
community as well. And thanks for having me. And yeah, I think we're just going to have some fun today.
yeah,
Look at the charts. Obviously bullish, bearish, liquidity, CVD, and from the community, if you guys would like to have us chart some altcoins, please go ahead and share those comments.
absolutely. Devolt, thank you very much for joining in. And yes, as you said, I am busy, but there is so many big things. There's a big project coming behind all of this. So this is why, it's a little bit of a bumpy road at the moment, even with content, even with my personal trading, a lot of expenses, but it's all for the best, right? And it's, there's going to be big things coming, in the next coming weeks, I would even say. So hopefully I'll have the studio in the next coming days. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my personal life. We're here to absolutely crack on, talk about what is going on with the market. Most importantly, Bitcoin. We can talk about the Federal Reserve interest rates. We can talk about some altcoins, the stock market. But overall, we are here for Bitcoin. I trade Bitcoin. You trade Bitcoin. So what do you have here for us on higher time frames, mid time frames? Will we go to heading to? Will we be heading to an all-time high, or are we going to get a much larger correction? What do you think here? What are the levels here with technical analysis? Please share the chart for the community.
Perfect. Let's dive into that. And it's crazy, Andy, how as soon as people see a red candle, all hell breaks loose and we're going to
Yeah,
$10,000. And as soon as people see a green candle, we're going to $100,000. I really think people emotionally overreact to some of the situations. Um, but yeah, let's go and tackle some of the scenarios. Just want to see if I can bring up my screen here quick to stage. There we go. Everyone see
right.
my chart. Andy, can you see what's going on there?
Yep, we can see it. Crack on.
Cool. So perhaps I like to zoom out and then we can go into the final details. So let's look
Mm-hmm.
at the 12-hour over here. And me, I love myself some trends. Trends has treated me very well during my trading career so far. And
Mm-hmm.
an interesting thing that I've been hammering on with my community specifically, Andy, is, and perhaps your community will find it interesting as well, is that an impulse versus a correction.
Yeah.
Okay. And the one thing I just quickly want to explain is you will see if I look at this entire structure over here, you have a trend that connects this low and
Mm-hmm.
this low that's running up there. Okay. Then
Mm-hmm.
you have a more steep trend that connects these two lows running up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically tracking the momentum to the upside. Then I have a major home line down here. And I think I have to go onto the daily to show everyone where that is connected. Okay. And perhaps this one. So there's a major home line over here. Okay. And there is a rule. I'm not saying we're going there. There is a rule. Generally, when you move away from your home line, when you move away, at some point you're going to come back and test it. You come back
Mm.
home. Okay. And we'll just have to see how aggressive this bull market is, because you can come back home, yeah, you can come back home, yeah. And even connecting these tops over here, you don't
Mm-hmm.
really want to see us break back into this channel. Maybe worst case scenario, a bounce over there
Mm.
for continuation to the upside. Right. So from an impulse and a corrective perspective, what I want to just share with everyone so that we are all on the same page, and I know it gets a little bit confusing, but I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I possibly can, is that when I just take that out. Sometimes my back button doesn't work for some reason. Okay, cool. When let's just make it simple. When I look at this structure over here, okay,
Mm-hmm.
go on to the 8 hour. I think it's going to be better to measure the waves. Okay. You will see and Andy, I'm sure you know this, is that
Mhm.
each impulse has a correction. You have an impulse, you have a correction. You have an impulse, and you have a correction. The question
Mhm.
is, from an Elliott wave perspective, okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's considered the end of the impulse, of which each wave has a correction, and when you get to wave 5, okay, this correction here corrects the entire structure, not
Mhm.
just this impulse. Okay.
Yeah.
If this impulse is still going up to claim higher levels, then you've counted your Elliott waves correctly. And generally speaking, where people make the mistake is that this is then, oops, this is then still part of a third wave, and the fifth wave is not complete. Okay. And this is what we are trying to figure out here.
Mm.
Okay. So, in saying that, this is now where it gets really interesting, Andy, is to say that, okay, so
What wave
taking a
are we
time
in?
clip, what wave are we in? Are we going up to 100K, or are we
Yeah.
coming back down to 50K? Right. So, rule of thumb, when you start measuring an impulse from the bottom to the
Mhm.
top, okay, generally speaking, the minimum requirement for a correction is the 0.382. From a trading
Mhm.
technical perspective, you want to at least see a correction at the 0.382, but a ideal correction is here by the 0.618 or the 1-to-1 ratio over here.
Mm.
And here you can see that this correction was a beautiful balance between a 1 to
Yeah.
1,
One.
and then we
One to
found
one.
momentum to the upside.
Mm.
Okay. Next one. Okay. I'm painting a picture over here. I'm getting to the climax. Right.
Mhm. Absolutely. We need
Is
to know the route, right? Before we know where we're going, right? Yeah.
exactly right. So the impulse from the bottom to the top, okay, you
Mhm.
can see the correction ended at well, exactly the one, I would
Yeah.
say, well, depending on whether that was the first wave, but you can see just after the 1-to-1 ratio,
Mhm.
this correction ended. Okay. Now the question is this correction, okay, this is the big question, for this wave,
Mhm.
or is this correction for this entire structure? This is
Yeah.
now the question. Okay. So I would say this impulse that we had over here, if you look at this structure over here, okay,
Mhm.
so let me take the scribble out the way just to make it nice and clean. We had an impulse, and one could arguably say that this correction is for this impulse, and it's not even correcting this structure yet. Okay, that is
Mhm.
considered insane bullish momentum to the upside, where this is still part of a three wave that is not completed, where you could look at this as a double 1-2, 1-2, and the
Mhm.
three is only starting at the moment. Okay,
Yeah.
that is like insane bullish momentum that you can look at. Or I see some Elliott wave counters out there are counting this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm.
If that is the case, you would expect a deeper correction. Okay. And I'm not picking sides. I'm just saying we're trying to figure out what is this correcting. Okay. If this is a 5, it means that this correction can either bounce here when you then take a fib. To make it simple, you take a fib
Mhm.
from the bottom to the
Mhm.
top. Okay. And you can see, well, these are all bouncing levels. You've got the
Mm.
382, you've got the 50%, you've got the 618. And for the macro structure to remain intact, for bullish momentum to continue to the upside, you don't want to see us come down lower than the 786, because when you start tapping the 88 level, generally speaking, it means that any move away from the 0.88 level is a corrective structure and not an
Mm.
impulse anymore. So you want to see this level as the last line in the sand, okay, for bullish momentum, for the bull market to remain intact. Okay, so very interesting is um, now we start looking at CVD, we start counting the waves, we start measuring what's going on, and interestingly enough, when you start taking like a trend-based Fibonacci from the
Mhm.
low to the high to the low, you can see we tapped the
The one that
1.618
takes.
to perfection.
Yeah, that's
which
counting that the first couple of waves as a 1-2-1-2, right? As a one
yes,
two one
so
two.
this is now 1 2 1 2. If I do
Mm-hmm.
that, if I
Yeah.
count this as a 1 2, then we've tapped almost, I think, the 5.618, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try that quickly. Right, from the bottom to the top to the bottom, you
Yeah,
can
it's
see we've tapped the 5.618 completely. So if this is the first wave and this is not a double 1-2 combo, what I have seen with Bitcoin is that the 5.618 is generally the max target for an entire wave to the upside, which includes all 5 waves. And this is how some of the Elliott wave counters are counting this. But when you go back to the previous bull market, this was only the start of 3, where 3 still went up and up and up and up. And, an Elliott wave is a funny thing. It's only once the Elliott wave starts cooling down and more hot top becomes available, does the Elliott wave start making sense. But when an Elliott wave is in the beginning stages, no one knows where it can go. You're
yeah.
speculating. Okay. So the question is, looking at the structure, let's just take some of the scribble out here, is to say that from a bearish perspective, let's tackle the $50,000 level first, is to say that we have broken through this trend over here, okay? Which looks bullish. Nice green volume, broke through the trend, and perhaps, from an easy simplicity perspective, we're finding consolidation, and we're going to come and claim this high again. Okay. Looking at CVD, I think we have CVD that potentially supports this move, is to say that, yes, Andy, and I mean, the CVD looks absolutely crazy. And for those of you that don't know CVD, link down in the description for both of me and Andy, 25% discount on the Legends community, where myself and Andy teach everyone how to use CVD. I have a little tool that runs in the background that makes the lines nice and sexy, so you know exactly what's going on. But it is a free tool that you can go and use. Okay, so looking at CVD over here, you can see this pivot, okay, and this low at the 0.88. And
Yeah.
without counting the pivots in between or anything, I'm just looking at it from a high level perspective. It just looks like a waterfall down. Okay, massive absorption of short orders from
Yeah.
bigger players filling their bags, pushing the price to the upside. Okay. What's even more insane for me about this price action is that when I start zooming out here, okay, and I look at this pivot over here, okay, and it's right about this area. And look at where CVD is at the moment. So you're not just making CVD against this pivot, you are making CVD against all of these pivots at the moment where we are right now. And you can just imagine that, well, if we had to start crashing down, the CVD is just going to waterfall.
Oh
And that
yeah.
almost gives you the clue as to this retracement is most likely not going to hit
Yeah, going to be a correction
$50,000.
still, a continuation of a correction.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree on that. CVD is extremely powerful. People are getting a little bit too extremely bearish. Even myself yesterday, I asked on a poll, what comes next, because you asked me about the poll. What comes next, all-time high or $50,000? I even said, hey, maybe even $50,000, just because we've been extremely bullish for the last 6 months. We've been extremely parabolic, and a cool off would be, actually good for Bitcoin in the next coming weeks. But overall, if we were to come down, like explained with the CVD, and tap that wick low from the 5th of March, which is sitting below $60,000, I would still, like you said, I would still actually be looking for a swing long position. I do think that the price could definitely get a bounce, just maintaining this very strong bullish structure. We've had a lot of people being very bearish during the last few days with this drop. Even me doing it on, asking on a poll, we had, I think it was something like 65% of people were saying, we're going down to $50,000, right? We're going down. That's, a majority of the people. So there's a majority of people being quite bearish. So, that We know the psychology, how it works. We're probably going to get a bounce. We already got a bounce of over $5,000 in the last 24 hours since I asked that question. So you can see how the reverse psychology works right over here, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, overall, I can see, you do have a trend line. I think this is a famous trend line. We do have it here. I have it on the chart. We have kind of broken above it, the lower high resistance trend line that we've formed from this downtrend that we formed during the last week approximately. We've kind of broken above
Yes.
it. Do you see this as a sign of bullishness? Have we broken structure in your opinion? If we retrace down, what would be an invalidation point for you for the price to actually say, all right, this is not a successful breakout. We are not going to continue to the upside, because there should be some fib levels or some high volume nodes or I don't know, a monthly level or something or whatever on the chart to give you that invalidation that this is not the low that we formed yesterday at $61,000 approximately. Yeah, around about
Yeah.
60,900. What would be the ultimate level for a corrective move here for you to think, right, this is just not a successful breakout? We're likely going to come down to lower levels.
So, Andy, there are three scenarios that I'm currently watching. And I mean, as a trader, we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared for bullish momentum, and we need to be prepared for bearish momentum. The one thing I think that's very interesting and before I dive into the 15-minute over here to perhaps explain this Elliott wave, and I see you've also touched on it during your update today in your YouTube video, where a 1, 2, potentially a 3, and we are busy with a fourth wave. And I'm going to go and work it out to say, well, if this is impulsive, how high can we go? And even if we claim the highs, are we going higher, or are we then going to start correcting this entire structure? The one thing, Andy, I've also shared with you, and my community specifically found it extremely interesting, is that when I go onto the 4-hour and I get a little bit psychic over here and I switch on the moon phases, okay, this gets very eerie, and it's not something that you have to believe in. You just have to go and back test it to see if it works. Right. What is interesting about the moon phases is, and this is also genuinely part of my dollar cost trading strategy, is that the purple moons here are referred to as new moons, and it's not an indicator that's just called moon phases. It is actually linked to the moon phases in the sky, right? And it's quite crazy to see how people's emotions are linked to whether it's a full moon or a new moon. Okay. If you just looking at the structure from a dollar cost average perspective, let's just look at that structure, is that if you bought every single full moon, you will generally find that you are buying Bitcoin at the lowest price, even with momentum to the upside. Look at what happened if you had to buy this full moon over here. So you have a new moon.
It's pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy, actually.
Pushes price down.
Yeah.
It's insane accurately. So the rule, this moon phase has a 74% accuracy rate when you go and back test it. Okay. So the rule is, if you are in a bull structure, the new moon will either consolidate price or try and push it down. Okay. Where the full moon will push price up, As you can see what happened to this full moon. I mean, if you bought this full moon, you would be insanely in profits over here. Okay. I mean, this is a massive move here.
Sorry to cut you there, Deval, but I'm going to say, I should have just followed the moon, So if someone asked me, who are you getting financial advice from? Hey, I just follow the moon, baby. It's pretty crazy. If you do take a look at the last, what is it, like 6 to 12 months, it's a pretty good DCA strategy. Hey, follow the full moon. It's just,
exactly.
My goodness.
So
Pretty crazy.
So Andy, for me, what I do in my portfolio is I DCA into my favorite alts and into Bitcoin when the full moon prints, because then I am catching it at the lowest price. You don't want to start DCAing on the 11th of every month or the 9th of every month after you get paid. You want to be clever about your investment. I use the full moon cycle to know when to DCA into my portfolio. Okay, so guess what happened? The new moon printed and we got a correction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think what confused some of the moon people about this new moon is, and it does happen, where you print a new moon and then you get bullish continuation here to the
Yeah.
upside. But eventually it puts selling pressure and then you start getting the correction. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is interesting for me is that the new or the full moon, the next full moon prints on the
When is it
25th
coming?
of March.
Okay.
Around,
25th of March.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Which means that the correction can still continue. So, purely being a little bit crazy and psychic over here, I'm saying that the best time to buy Bitcoin is on the 25th of March based on history. Not what I say or what I think, purely based on history. Okay.
Yeah, it's an indicator at the end of the day, right? It is an like the moon is an indicator in this case, and it has been working pretty accurately during the last, what, 6, 7, 8 months. I mean, obviously the trend has been very, very bullish.
Yes.
I would be interested to see how this, can you actually zoom out as far as the bear market just to see?
Yes. So this is the rule of the moon phase. When you are in a bear market, the new moon takes priority. When you are in a bull market, the full moon takes priority. And
Right.
here you can see on the daily during the bear market,
Yeah.
we printed the new moon over here and we started correcting. The full moon gave us a consolidation. The new moon pushed price down, pushed price down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It does have some false signals, but overall, if you short and long the moon phases,
Yeah.
all you have to identify, are we in bullish or bearish market
Trend.
structure?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could literally, from a spot perspective or even from a 1x leverage perspective, short, long, short, and you will have a 74% win rate. Okay. And you can see insane new moon, bam,
Yeah. Yeah.
full
Yeah.
moon
It's pretty.
consolidation. And then,
Yeah.
when the market year was starting to turn around, then it gets a bit confusing. So it works very nicely in a trending market, either to the
Yeah.
downside or
Mm,
to the upside. And here
mm,
you can just see, if you bought, on the 25th of Jan,
mhm.
massive momentum up. You bought again, DCA, 24th of Feb, massive momentum up. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am planning to add to my spot bags on the 25th of March because this is what the moon tells me to do.
Mm,
Right. Okay. So taking the full moon phases into consideration, I can switch that off. We can zoom here onto the 1 hour and then switch back on some of the trends and the analysis that I am looking at. Right. Now that I've painted that picture, Andy, which is the
it's
crazy
amazing.
picture,
Amazing to
is to
see. Never
say,
used never used full moon, in my life, the indicator. Never used it. But I mean,
I'm sure you're going to now.
I'm going to buy a bunch of everything on the 25th of March, like you said. Only joking. But yeah, will be very interesting to take it into consideration, to see at what kind of confluence support levels we are at. Because, I mean, I would add it as a confluence level. Yeah, I like to add a lot of
Yeah,
things on the chart. Hey, and if we do have that full moon, just bring it on as confluence, right? Hey, it's, we're hitting this massive level. It's a monthly, it's a 618 fib, it's a high volume node, blah, just adding all the confluence. And you know what? We got a full moon. So, bring it on, even better. So it's just all about adding.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, to your point, Andy, this is where I start adding confluence. So even from a trading perspective, I'm now looking at let's put a horizontal line here on the 25th, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I've already done my homework. I know exactly when the full moon prints in my country. Okay, there, right. So from a bearish perspective, looking at this structure over here, okay, and we can go into the final detail now is to say that, well, this can be a three-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to start correcting down here again. Or we SFP from the highs, the all-time highs of 2021, I think, which is also in confluence with the 0.618, if I'm not mistaken. Right, you can see here by the 0.618, keeping technical analysis extremely simple is to say that we failed to break through the all-time highs. This is a SFP. If you go into the weekly time frame, it's a SFP, the candle closed below. Right, so it
Yeah.
looks very bearish from a weekly perspective.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to get at is this can either be a retest of the scene of the crime. When you break through a level, you fail to break through, you come back down, you retest it, which is the 618. So even if you're zooming to the 1 minute and you want to do a SFP, you zoom into the 1 minute, you buy from a safer entry, you buy into the 618, put your stop below the, above the highs, aiming for
Mm,
lower prices. Okay, same principle that I'm applying here on a little bit of a larger time frame is to say one bearish scenario that I'm keeping in mind is that we SFP from these highs, failing to break through. I think there's also lots of volume here at the moment, trading volume, and we come tumbling down. Okay. This to me, in confluence with the 25 March
hmm.
full moon that's going to print could be that ticket where you bounce on the trend, you claim all the beautiful liquidity below these lows, because I'm
Yeah.
sure that there's a lot of people that put their stop losses below this week, thinking that this was a flash crash and we're not coming back there. Okay,
Mm,
so it would be nice to have that little SFP down here. You
yeah.
bounce on this trend, which you'll see there's a naked point of control that I have over there. And I got it from
Hmm.
this little consolidation area. And Andy, I'm not sure about you. I have often find that people think that these things are insignificant, and then you get the
No, no, no.
biggest bounces from
Yeah.
these little consolidation areas. When you go and switch on your
Mm,
session volume profile,
yeah. Or
let's
fixed
see if that
volume from that
loads
little
up.
range. Yeah.
Or you
But yeah,
fix volume this range over here. Okay,
yeah,
it's going to take a while
100%.
to load up.
I love these little consolidations as we go up there, because they do many times, most of the times, I would even say, something like 80% of the times they do get a reaction. And like I like to explain to a lot of my community, me as a scalper day trader, I know these levels are going to get a reaction, whether that's a few $100s, which is enough for me to get, just scratch, a few dollars off the market. And it's enough, right? Whether it gets a stronger bounce or it starts getting, forming a double bottom. I love double bottoms. They're like the best. Double bottom, they're the best
Yes.
for getting into a great trade setup with very, very good risk management. So, I would say, maybe get that quick reaction of a few $100s, get a dead cat bounce kind of scenario, hitting that naked point control, and then look for that double bottom. And then, you're in the game, right? If it double bottoms, you could get a significant rally. But yeah,
Exactly.
no doubt that I like those levels, those smaller consolidations. Mm,
And I'm exactly on your page, is to say that from a simplicity perspective, you
mm,
have a double bottom potentially. From a bearish perspective, you have a double bottom. Okay, you have a SFP line over here. You can
mm,
go snap it on with a magnet, and then if we come down here, okay, you get acceptance back above this level. Perhaps you want to
yeah.
be a little bit late for the party because you don't know what's going to happen over here. You could even use this as a SFP if you want a more aggressive entry. Please just
Mm,
make sure that you manage your risk well.
mm.
And then there's your ticket for upwards momentum to come and claim the liquidity above these highs once again. So that is one larger time frame perspective that I'm looking, is to say that from a very bearish perspective, this is definitely a scenario where we SFP from this low. And I think a lot of people won't expect it, because now that we had this bumpy action, the world is going to $100,000 again. We're going to have $1 million Bitcoin. Everyone's just turned bullish. But yesterday, everyone called for $10,000 and $25,000 Bitcoin. I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah, I did have quite a lot of bearish people in my comment section, $16,000 even coming down and like, yo, chill, chill. We only just had a little correction for the last few days compared to what we've been pumping during the last 6 months. This is a baby correction. We should even correct a little bit more. It would be even better if we actually dipped below $60,000 to go to that, 68,000, even 58,000, even
Yes.
$56,000 range for a little bit. I would think though that that's a really good bouncing level, no doubt. So I would be happy to DCA. I haven't been DCAing. I actually sold Bitcoin just about a month ago. But I would DCA more if we do get that sharp drop all the way down there. Um,
Definitely. And I
so
think that's also where I will be loading up on some of my spot bags, on some of my favorite alts where I felt like I missed the boat a little bit.
yeah,
It's definitely where I will be adding, is if we had to come down here. Because I mean, Andy, purely from a technical perspective, not I feel or I think, we're not saying that. We're saying data is showing us, looking at
mm,
CVD, it's a game of probabilities.
oh
And
yeah,
from a probability probability perspective, it looks like the probabilities of us claiming this high is low based on what we see over here. Just
Mm.
massive. People are massively buying up the dips. It's
Yeah, the
like
big money,
FOMO. There's so
yeah.
much FOMO from big players. I mean, people with
Yeah,
hundreds and hundreds of millions are buying up where people
yeah,
are
this drop.
selling. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, the
this is
retail are
potentially,
more bearish, yeah.
yes, yeah, and to your
Yeah.
point, so maybe this is the dumb money selling over here, and the smart money is just saying, "Thank you so much. Now we can fill our bags."
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, I felt like really dumb money when I did sell last month some Bitcoin because the price just pumped another $10,000. However, I've been buying Bitcoin for a long time, Devault, and it's just a little bit of profit taking when you're making a 3x. It's like, come on, I got some expenses coming, and I'm gonna sell a little tiny bit of my portfolio, just a tiny weeny bit, obviously with the profit from trading as well. And I don't know why I did so because I still have quite a significant cash on the sidelines, and I'm like speculating on some alts. Some alts have been doing really
Mm,
good for me. I'm looking for a quick 2x flip. I'm putting significant, capital in because I've been waiting for lower on altcoins and a better opportunity during the last, 6-12 months. And I have been buying, but I could have bought more aggressively. So I got this cash on the sidelines that I wanted to allocate, and I just was really taking advantage of those nice pumps that we've had a few weeks ago, and a few of them played out very, very nicely, such as Phantom. Phantom was one that I just
mm,
did a beautiful 2x. There are 2 or 3 altcoins that, I was talking about that I did buy some that are slightly in the red, not too aggressive, but they're slightly in the red. I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, if we were to get a little bit of more of a flush here and a little bit of more of a correction, I would actually buy more with the cash that I have, the spare cash. Thank God for that I do have, to actually get into some altcoins.
yeah.
So you're really not too worried about this little bit of a corrective move. I think it's just going to bring a great opportunity.
Definitely, Andy. And I mean,
Mm,
dips are made for buying. I mean, we
mm,
we can see that we are in bullish momentum to the upside. Everyone is trying to short that ultimate top, and you might just liquidate and burn a big hole in your account by trying to be in the Mr. Brave Star that wants to show the 1,000% P&L, and we
mm,
just never
mm,
get there. Because I mean, when we were in the bear market, it took a while for people to actually realize we are in a bear market. Until
mm,
we were
mm.
like halfway through the bear market, then YouTubers and influencers only started saying, okay, maybe we are in a bear market.
Yeah.
And I think we have to acknowledge we've taken the all-time high.
Mm.
Okay. And some people are still calling this a bear market rally. I don't get it. Trend is your friend until the end. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 no doubt. I mean, the only thing I am skeptical about is, usually big money, they are happy with 50% gains or even,
Yeah.
a 2x. These institutions, they're looking at an average gain of 10% a year, and they're very happy with that gain, and they suddenly jump into Bitcoin with hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars, and they start flipping it and doing a 2x, and they're like, holy crap, I've been putting $50 billion into this and making, 100 billion. I wouldn't say that much, but obviously, like, a few $1 billion, right? And flipping it, right? You put 5 billion, and in a few weeks it's turned into 10 billion. What the heck? They're very, very happy with those massive gains. A little bit skeptical
Yeah.
on what could happen in the next coming months. I mean, I would like to know your opinion, and obviously this is big speculation. There is a lot of smart investors and technical analysts and, even market analysts, economy analysts that say, we are going to be facing a recession at some point. But I've been hearing this since 2017, right? We've had a few events that have, like C19, which was really not much because the money printer, just went on, and markets and free money for everybody. So big inflation, but overall it was a big recovery on markets and rest of it. People are saying that, well, we did see Jerome Powell yesterday saying that there is going to be interest rates likely coming down this year. I'm not sure if you're
Mm.
aware of that. But also, what we do see with data is that when interest rates go down after being going up for a long period of time, like we've been seeing during the last few months, that is when we start seeing some cracks on the economy. I'm not sure what do you think about that? Do you see, would Bitcoin be, will it be the saver? Would it be that safe haven as it is meant to be, or could it be impacted by a strong recession?
Yeah, Andy, I think, me and you as traders, I don't need to know whether the market is going up or down to make money. We trade level to level and we
That would
observe
be an
reactions.
answer. So sorry to cut you there. That would be the exact answer that I would say. Like, I don't give a damn if the recession comes or not. I'm going to trade the charts. I'm going to trade the trend, the levels. I don't know where Bitcoin's going to be next week, right? So, but anyway,
Exactly.
sorry. Go ahead.
And
Go ahead. Continue.
and I think, Andy, the technical analysis tells you a story before the news comes out. So, to give you an example, is that technical analysis, if CVD, for example, had to
Mm,
be doing this, wait, grab my tool back. If CVD was over here, okay, on blue and
mm,
yellow, and we
mm,
have
mm.
done this and we've made higher highs, for example,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I could have had this conversation with you and said that, Andy, something bad's about to happen. Like, I
yeah,
think the economy recession, someone is going to post something on X and the
yeah,
world is going to come to a standstill, or maybe we're going to have COVID 2.0. Okay,
yeah.
because the charts tells you the story before the news comes out. But the
Mm,
chart, the technical analysis, what
mm,
the data that I see in front of me is extremely bullish. And I
yeah.
think once we are at $100,000, are the
Mm,
news going to confirm why we got there? But from a technical perspective, I could have told you that the technicals told me we need to go up for now. For now,
mm,
we need to go up. So it's not a personal view for me. I'm trying to not have a biased view because I feel it can happen or this could happen. I look at technical analysis and I'm like, CVD is going down. And I mean,
mm,
Andy, I can just use this so many times is that let me zoom in onto the 4 hour. It's a very interesting question. And
mhm,
people don't understand how accurate this indicator is. When you start going back here to this consolidation area, okay?
mm.
You go back to this consolidation area. There was
Yeah.
people saying, "Oh, we're going down. We're going down." This was
Mm,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to have a major ABC correction here to the downside, perhaps even claiming all the liquidity below these lows. But what did
mm,
CVD do? Okay, CVD. If you look at the structure over here, CVD went down. Okay, and it
mm,
won the battle. So there was a tick number one. Tick. CVD won the battle. CVD showed us, and look how small it is. It was like a tiny creep to the downside. Bam.
mm,
Okay, price movement went up. And then I go onto this little structure over here. Okay, same thing. CV price action moving sideways, CVD
yeah.
falling down. Okay, what happened? This is
Bang.
technicals. It's not me thinking that it's going to do that. Bang. Okay, Andy, you love your bangs, right? Okay. Yeah, again, price moving sideways, CVD moving down. Okay,
Mm.
bang, once again. Right. And now, what is this price action telling us? Now, when I zoom out here, what is this telling me?
Yeah, it's
This
very
is telling
brutal.
me that price needs to go up. Okay. I'm not
Yeah.
saying something bad can't happen and price is going to come down lower. All I'm saying is I am not a fundamental trader. I can't trade fundamentals. And I know there's people that are successful in trading fundamentals and speculating on recessions and news and,
Mm.
the meme coins or a token being launched. For me, it just sounds like too much work to go and read news articles and things like that. I'm
Yeah.
just trading the data in front of me. And for now, the data is showing me that even if we had to come down deeper, the probabilities of us claiming this high again is higher than us coming down
Yeah.
to $20,000.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are in bull market, no doubt. We are in bull market, and I think that we haven't seen very much retail FOMO. I mean, we are seeing a little bit of retail popping in, right? I got a few old
Yeah.
school friends popping out, saying, hey, but it still hasn't been like the massive FOMO stage that should be happening in the next 6 to 12 months approximately, where that is going to be really really spicy and really massive uptrend momentum. I think these corrective moves that happen from now forward are just like the opportunity corrections from a bull market, right? Because it's insane how just with this $10,000 drop, which is very corrective, we've pumped over $40,000 in a few months. So
Yes.
$10,000 drop is still very much in the corrective structure, even a
Healthy.
$20,000 drop. So
And I
um
mean, and your point, keeping it realistic, even just looking at this structure over here, even if we come down here in a
oh
straight
yeah,
line, something happens and we come down in a straight line by
oh yeah,
$32,000 and we bounce here on top of these highs, okay? Something really bad in the world happens and we do this, we are still in bullish structure.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
still
yeah, yeah,
bullish.
no doubt. No doubt. I think very
Okay.
similar to what happened in C19, the C19 crash in 2020. It was a bit of a flash crash, really, because the market
Mm,
recovered very, very fast in just a couple of weeks. We did have a significant dead cat bounce, and I think we were back at the highs the month after the crash. So I think April, May, we were already, recovered quite nicely from the from that C19 crash right over there. This is the weekly chart. Yeah, just around about 2 months. We've got a very nice
yeah.
recovery. So, like you said, if we do see a major corrective move, like very aggressive, say that we drop $20,000 to $30,000 on Bitcoin, which would be like a 50% correction, right? This was almost a 70% correction, which is crazy. You have 50% correction right now would take us down to the low 30s, right? So,
Yes.
um, it's I would see that as an epic, epic opportunity. Definitely would be a great opportunity. I would consider buying some significant Bitcoin if that were to be the case. Um, if we were to get that corrective move, no doubt. Especially if it's fast. The faster the move
Yes.
down, the faster the bounce is going to be as well. Weeks after that crash. Of course, if we start breaking down very slowly and like a strong downtrend building up, but I mean, if we do like have a flash crash, I think the bounce will be very, 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 very significant. The problem is, of course, where that low is going to be if we do get that flash crash. But
Yes.
we will see that. I think I remember on the crash in 2020. I bought, whatever I could with, I just had a few $1,000s lying around. This was my, I was in my middle stages in my trading career. I was doing well, but I didn't have tens of thousands of dollars, right, sitting around to invest. But I remember very well that I knew that the low was in on stock market, on Bitcoin, and it was on altcoins as well. I knew that this had to be the low based on a consolidation that happened after the crash, the recovery. I never thought that it was going to be a dead cat bounce and come back down and test that low of the crash. It was just it was too obvious that this was a
Yeah.
major, major opportunity. So we will know, I will know with high probability that if we do get an epic crash, based on bad news happening worldwide and everybody's fearful, oh my goodness, this is the end, of everything. We will, it will be very easy, in my opinion, to detect that, this is an insane opportunity based on the charts, whatever the charts are doing
Yes.
after that major crash, depending on what kind of consolidation is and what support is holding and reclaiming. It will be like, guys, this has been the bottom. This will be the bottom, and we're likely going to recover. Anyway, this obviously this is just pure speculation, right? Yeah, we're like
It's
imagining it's speculation,
uh,
but
I mean,
I love
Andy,
I love
it's
I love reading the charts. I love reading the charts when something like this happens because I
yes.
remember 2020 very well, and it was like, oh my goodness, this is like the golden opportunity of a lifetime. And back in the day, I didn't have that much money. As I was in, the middle of my trading career. Uh, I was still working as a welder. Just I was actually finishing. I was doing pretty good. I had money. I had lots of money invested in crypto. Trading was doing good, but I just didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to say, right, this is the moment to get um, in that basically in that event. But I very much understood that this was a low, and it did pay off very, very well in the end, even though
Yeah.
I invested whatever I had. So it would be nice. This is why I learned from that event that I'm going to have a huge amount of cash on the sidelines for whatever could happen in the future. So this is why I don't really regret having a bunch of cash on the sideline, because there will be an opportunity at some point, whether that is this year or in the next coming years. So I think it's all no doubt important to have a significant stack of cash on the sidelines, because there's always good flips on altcoins, like I mentioned, Phantom, this, that. There's always good
Mm.
opportunity to do quick flips. But overall, I don't regret buying more Bitcoin, buying more Ethereum, buying more good altcoin projects, because I know that there will be an opportunity at some point of a major recession. It's just going to happen at some point. So you just need to be ready, and you need to have some cash on the sidelines, because in my case, back in 2020, I didn't have enough spare cash. And and what I learned from that event is, next event, whether it comes in 5, 10 years, whenever it comes, I can guarantee you I'm going to have a huge amount of cash on the sidelines to get to jump in, right? Anyway,
Yes.
yeah. So
No,
yeah,
it's
just
very it's absolutely interesting, Andy. And I think I've had this conversation with a friend the other day as well, and he's absolutely obsessed about following YouTube influencers that can
mm,
exactly predict the top and the bottom. And if someone on the YouTube channel, says no, we're going to turn around at $50,000 when we were over here. This is the high. We're going to fall down. He
mm,
unsubscribes and he goes and he finds someone else that has a more accurate top or bottom. And I asked him the
right,
question, well, why is this so important to you? By
mm,
knowing where the top and the bottom is, has that made you any money? Because I have made money all the way down and I've made money all the way up. I don't care where the top or the bottom is. As from a trading perspective, I make money every day trading, trading the markets up and down. So it is for, I love having these conversations, especially with you, Andy. Where can we go? Are we going to have a recession? How far
mm,
can we fall? And at the end of the day, we actually don't care, because
mm,
that is not going to make us money. Okay, definitely what I will say, I completely agree with you that if we had to do this, I mean,
yeah,
I think this smart money is going to climb in here and have fat fingers and buy as
yeah,
aggressively as they can. And the
mm,
dumb money, the retail traders, people with jelly hands, are going to be causing the dip here to the downside. And
yeah,
the smart money is just going to buy it up, and then you will
mm,
see that V-shaped recovery back to the upside.
mm,
So,
mm,
I mean, and to your point, that's why you have to have dry powder. You have to
yeah,
have dry powder.
no
And
doubt.
if you don't
As
have dry powder, then you just sit on your diamond hands. Do not sell. Do not sell. Okay, right. Unless you know how far it's going to fall, and you're one of those people that can predict the bottoms and the tops.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, well, we were mentioning before, I think the most the strongest level, like higher time frame level, is that $30,000 range, because
Yes.
this is where you do have that double top, which was that flat ABC structure. Yeah, that level over there. And it was also the value area low range of 2021 and 2022. And this is why we're getting the resistance there back in the summer of 2023, and also April. So yeah, I mean, I was looking at, I remember doing the analysis back in the summer of 2023, seeing this value area low right there, exactly, saying, the guy, this is resistance, is going to be a bit, I was actually bearish at that level, saying, hey, it's going to be difficult to break above this level. And we did reject a few times. So that would be kind of the like the ultimate low level that I would think that it would be absolutely insane to scoop up some Bitcoin right there. I mean, I think it's a
Yeah,
just a
and
massive level. Mm,
I completely agree with you, Andy. For me, this is also and I call this the ultimate low, the worst. I
mm,
call this, from a technical perspective, I call this the worst case scenario.
yeah.
Okay. What I'm more leaning towards at the moment is to say that I seriously doubt, from a technical perspective, that we will even go past this level. Okay.
Yes. Mm,
Because you had a deviation above the range. You had a deviation above the range. You
mm,
finally broke through the range, and this could be a retest for continuation to the upside. And based on CVD, based
mm,
on the ETFs, the millions and hundreds of millions of inflows, it
yeah.
just, I think these people are definitely going to take, if they see dips, they're going to buy, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that also think, I don't want to buy here. It's a little bit high,
Mm,
I'm, but if price can get here, and everyone has those little dreams on the toilet, where they dream about where they can buy Bitcoin, to say that, well, yes, if we can get here, all right. And then
mm,
they start seeing price fall. And that's why you're seeing the bullish CVD. Smart money is buying. They see the price fall and like, okay, I'm going to nibble. I'm going to nibble. I'm going to nibble, because we might not get here. And
mm,
as we fall, we nibble, we nibble. And I think even that little consolidation area, I don't even think we're going to get past there. Um,
mm.
Purely based on what I'm seeing in the data for continuation to the upside, to at least come and claim the high. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that we're going to $200,000. I'm just saying to at least come and claim the high.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we are in a bull market, at the end of the day. So, um, right. Do we
Yeah.
have, I mean, lower time frames? I
Yes,
think,
let's do
do we,
that.
shall we do some lower time frame scenarios? Because I think, I know a lot of people are interested in, lower time frame based on, what could happen maybe between today and tomorrow. What are the levels that we need to consider, for a possible setup, a sign of strength, a sign of weakness. Um,
And maybe, Andy, so yeah, from a trading, I did see some comments. People are saying, give us the trading
oh,
setups. And I think from a trading perspective, please go down into the description. Myself and Andy, we've got the best bonus and discount on Bybit at the moment, 20% discount on your trading fees
mm,
for building those epic swing positions here to the upside. Paying a little bit of lower fees really helps. And also Mexi, for those that can't use it, Bybit in their respective countries. You also don't need to KYC. Go down in the description, come trade with us with good risk management. Okay, so let's go through the trading setups. Right. Okay, so on the
I was
15
going to
minute,
go
and I'm
through
going
the
to,
comment. Sorry, Deval. I mean,
yes, go.
I was going to actually say a quick hello as you get the analysis ready. I'm just going to go through the comment section because I think this is very difficult when we do a live stream with two people because I like to
Yes.
go through the through the comment section a lot. Obviously, when you're doing a single live stream, but when you're doing a collaboration and we're talking and we're analyzing the charts, together, we like leave the comment section on the sideline. And I just want to say hello to the community here. See what who's joined in, who's saying hello, while you get some things ready, if you don't mind, on Bitcoin.
Perfect.
So that will give you a minute or two to actually analyze the situation. Crypto Big Brain, how are you doing? We're asking for ADA and XRP. We'll probably get into a couple of altcoins after doing some short-term Bitcoin analysis. Business Class, how are you doing? Oreo, hey. Tom P, Anup, hey guys, which is first, 80K or 58K? Well, 80K or 58K, very interesting. I think there's a chance for 58K. It's not too far away from current levels, so I could easily say 58K. The Jade Club, hello. Aditya, thanks for joining the stream. We've got moderator here giving a bit of power. Yeah, Sebastian, JB, hello. So we've got BTC 74K next stop, which would be very close to the all-time high. Andy, you the man, says Ayush, thank you very much. Andy, hello. L'Oreal, hola desde Valencia, Spain. We've got someone here from Spain. Christopher, Ivan, hello, Mr. Stante. The moon will tell us when to buy. That is also, we got someone here also following the moon indicator. Absolutely, yes. When is it that we have it? Full moon, 25th of March.
25th. Yeah.
Definitely, we
20.
need to see if we have corrected down quite aggressively during the next coming days, and it will be very interesting. Full moon, during the last few months, it has been a great buying indicator, right? During the last few months, so definitely to take into consideration. We've got Balaz here saying, "Fantastic stream. This is just a nice chilled stream here with DeVault. By the way, if you haven't checked out DeVault, you can go right away down below in the description of my video. You have his YouTube channel there. He provides videos every single day, guys, on pure technical analysis on Bitcoin and the markets. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining. Sorry for not talking, looking at the comment section. But when we do collaboration, it's super important that we interact, know your opinion, my opinion. Mainly we're doing DeVault as an, invite on my channel, which has been very interesting. Thank you very much for sharing the moon indicator and, your higher time frame perspective as well. So without further ado, let's go dive in through lower time frames on Bitcoin, if you don't mind, DeVault.
Okay, right. Here we go. Perfect. Thanks, Andy. And let's talk about some trading setups. Andy, and if you spot anything that I'm not seeing, please just interrupt me. Okay, so I think we've covered enough bearish scenarios over here. So let's look at a couple of bullish scenarios. Right, is to say the first bullish scenario that I'm looking at is to say that, well, what if this, let's zoom into this structure. I'm here on the 15-minute. And I have a couple of levels marked out. First level I have here is we have a previous day or a naked point of control. When you go and switch on your session volume profile, you wait for that to load up, and you'll see we have I just call it naked. You can call it previous day. I don't care. As long as you have the level marked out there, you want to observe the reaction. Untapped at the moment. So definitely a little bounce that we could get, considering this consolidation over here. But from an Elliott wave perspective, or from a wave perspective, sometimes I don't want to use the word Elliott wave because it scares people. But what I'm looking at is 1, 2, 3, and this is potentially a B, C. And what you will then find is you have a trend going to the upside. So you don't really want to lose this momentum or this trend here to the downside. This could potentially be a buying opportunity, but you don't really want to see price action go into the territory of 1. Okay. I think if price had to tap the 1, that to me could spell that we are going to lose it and perhaps come and bounce on this level over here. Okay. Where this is then considered a 3-wave corrective structure, and we are now finding momentum to the downside. Okay. And not a 5-wave impulsive wave to the upside. Okay. So that is one scenario that I'm watching, is to say that, well, the scenario that I would really like to play out is to say that, well, what if this is, okay, 1, 2, 3, and we are busy with the 4th wave. We most probably going to SFP from this low, bounce on the trend, and then we go and make the 5th wave. Okay, this all-time high level for me is very significant, also from a weekly time frame perspective, where we've just SFP'd from this line over here. Okay, that line is also in Confluence with a 618. When you take a fib from the top to the bottom, you will see we have a 618 level. Not exactly, but close enough. Okay.
61865. I mean, I like to use the 65 because it is a range. It's not you don't hit exactly the 618. 61865 is kind of that range. That's what I like to use. And I mean, I've been talking about this as well. So, I mean, no doubt that your technical analysis and mine aligns up, because those lower highs from the 18th, 19th of March are just exactly as well at that level for classic liquidity grab, get that wick above it, and get a significant corrective move. So for me, that is no doubt a short trading setup, whether that is going to drop a few $100 or $1,000 or $2,000. I don't know, but I think you could get into a good position with very good risk and be defensive and call it a free trade, because you're likely going to get a quick rejection from that zone. You just need to be very defensive, because it might just reject $200 or $300 and then get an epic bounce to continue that momentum to the upside, right? So
exactly. And I mean, Andy, I think your community you say always, and I tell my community the same thing as well, you are not shorting as we are pumping. You are shorting the acceptance back below the level. Also, keep in mind, we have a daily level over here, untapped daily level, literally untapped it with a couple of $100. So this area, considering an SFP from these highs, okay, definitely this area over here, Okay, you want to see weakness. You want to see weakness, that falling down, where you protect, as soon as you are in the profit, you protect your position. If you get stopped out, you can re-enter because you've lost nothing. I tell my community as well, don't be scared to re-enter a trade if you get stopped out and it's still getting acceptance back below the level. Okay,
Yeah,
and I think where a lot of people get scared to re-enter a trade is because
they
they
got stopped
either
out.
risk too much and they got
Yeah,
stopped
yeah.
out and I burned a
Mm,
big hole in their pocket, and now they're too scared to enter again because what if I lose another $10,000 or half my account or 20% of my account? Okay,
mm,
so this is the short setup that I'm looking. If we do find more bullish momentum to the upside, and I know this gets a little bit technical, the easiest way to work out a fifth wave to the upside is you want the fourth wave to be complete, which we don't know if the fourth wave is complete.
mm-hmm.
Okay, but the easiest way to work out a fifth wave is the length of one. Okay, that's the easiest way to work it out without using fancy trend-based fibs or anything like that. And you can see that's the area that we are looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And obviously, if 4 moves down, you just move this line a little bit down. And then when you do have confirmation of your fourth wave, you can then start using trend-based fibs. And I show my community this often. There's 3 ways to work out a fifth wave. This is the second way, from the low to the high of 3 to wherever 4 is going to end. So if this is number 4, this is considered the most bullish scenario from a fifth wave perspective. Okay, the 0.618. Okay, and then there's another way that you can use from the top of 4 to the bottom, from the top of 3 to the bottom of 4. You drag it across, you reverse it. Where's the setting? I know it looks a bit messy. I'll clean it up now. And these are also fifth wave targets, so not easy. Okay, so that to me, by this naked point of control and the 786 could also be a rejection area. Okay, for an extended fifth wave. But then look at this area, which are common fifth wave targets, is in alignment with the all-time high, the 618, and the daily level. Right.
There's just a big fat zone of confluence right there.
Exactly. It's
So
like everything is just lining up to say that
yeah,
we need. So I suppose, Andy, what I'm also trying to say is we need some decent volume to break through here. You
yeah,
want to
yeah,
see
no
some
doubt.
decent green candles. You want
Yeah.
to see some decent green candles kick in here to confirm bullish momentum to the upside. I mean, we can't just be bearish. For bullish momentum to remain here to the upside, you
Oh
want to
yeah, yeah,
see us smash through here and come back with lower red volume to confirm support in this area for continuation
yeah.
to the upside. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that I would be bearish instantly as soon as we get to that level. It's just a level that you need to remain a little bit patient to check that, the reaction. Could we SFP those lower highs from the 18th of March? I mean, there is an attempt right there, but you need to be an absolute sniper. As soon as you get that wick above that level, potentially, and beneath it, because I mean, the thing is that it could be a fast move as well, where you just get the wick up and then and have a massive corrective move of $1,000. You just need to be an absolute sniper and realize that those levels, if you get beneath them on the lower time frame, just a quick sniper. If you get a correction of a few $100s, be defensive, because you don't know if you're
Yes.
going to actually, have another attempt and just blast through. No doubt it's a zone where I would not add to the position on a short. If you're in a loss, add, because if you break through this zone, it could just very much likely, pump a few
Yeah.
$1,000s, which could get really crazy. And this is where people get absolutely burnt, right? Because you're just liquidating and liquidating and liquidating, and it just gets an epic bounce, epic pump. And this is why these big moves, these big moves, I'm usually, I just don't do anything basically, unless I'm in a trade already, like in a long or something. But
Yes.
usually I just remain a little bit patient, because I know there's no way I would be trying to look for a short as we're pumping above this major confluence zone. And sometimes, I'm not sure if it's happened to you as well, Devault, when you have a zone where there's just a huge amount of confluence, like this zone over here, sometimes the price action just blast through like there was just a big fat nothing right there. This is sometimes
Yeah,
it has happened to me during the last few years of trading, where you think that this level where has 6, 7, 8 confluence levels, and you think, wow, this is a huge wall that the price is just not going to manage to break through, and then suddenly price just whoop,
like
just
this.
slices it through like a hot knife on butter. It happens sometimes, so it's something that we need to be aware of as well. Is it perfect?
Exactly,
Technical
Andy.
analysis is not perfect. Yeah.
And I think, you make such a good point because, I mean, we can go through all the impulses, but we don't have time for that now. But,
Mm,
when we were going through this, okay, we always
yeah.
look to the left. You go to the left to go look for weekly levels, daily levels, because we still had price action to the left. And I remember this pump over here. Yes, I had some major weekly naked, what weekly point of controls, monthly point of controls, and I had these levels in here, and and we just went zoop, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
It's
was
like
very,
it didn't
very
even
easy.
exist. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hot knife through butter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, Andy. But yes, you make such a point. So, I mean, from a bullish perspective, okay, let's just talk bullish now at the moment, is to say
Yeah.
that regardless of how much confluence this is, that
Mm-hmm.
could, and a big could, we don't know, that could be a ticket for an ultimate way down. It could,
Yeah.
but it also
Mm,
could not be, because what if this is the momentum that's going to carry us up? Is to say
yeah.
that, well, what could happen is that your SFP, you have a B, C correction, okay, maybe a flat over there, and then you just continue the momentum and you're still building
Mm,
that upwards momentum to the upside. So you have a little scalp, of
yeah.
$1,000, you drop a couple of $1,000, maybe $3,000. You're like, yes, I'm in the profits. Wow, wow, I'm so happy. I'm just going to leave the position open. Your stop is still above there, and then this happens, and you had a
Mm-mm.
winning trade, and now you walk away with a losing trade. So it's about, Andy, and I think you hammered that so well on that point during your streams as well, is that take profits,
Yeah.
be defensive, protect your position, move your stop loss to break even, because you never know what's going to happen,
Mm.
because we might just have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C, and so the impulses just continue to the upside where we go
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
take the highs.
Yeah. Maybe the correction
Okay.
has finished at the $61,000 range. Just yesterday. Maybe that was the low. Maybe that was the low. So far, the momentum is to the upside during the last 24 to 48 hours. So we need to respect
Yes.
this pump for the moment and give Bitcoin a chance. So, like you're saying on the lower time frames, I like this leg down that is happening during the last few hours. If we do get down today's lows, I do like that three-wave structure that we formed during today. It does look very corrective, and it does look like that we could be actually looking for some support here at the $65,000-$66,000 range. Um, I
Um,
would be very much interested in taking a look at a long position here if we do start not breaking down successfully the lows from today, and look for those local double bottoms, because that is where I would jump in on a local double bottom here in between $65,000 and $66,000. So it does look very, very corrective. We've had a massive impulsive move just yesterday evening, night, and today has been very, very corrective. I don't see too much power to the downside, so I do see this very, very corrective. Giving that chance of Bitcoin to get a pump here and claim today's highs. It does look very, very good, to be honest.
yes,
Mm.
and I think, Andy, as traders, we never know what's going to happen. Is that this could, two scenarios over here, is that this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this
Mm-hmm.
could also be a three-wave structure where you have a 1, 2, 3, and we are starting, or we are going to start falling down from here. We
Yeah,
never
yeah.
know.
Mm,
This is not guaranteed as a five-wave structure. It can
mm,
be
mm,
a three-wave structure, and we have hit the 1.618, which is also
mm.
a C wave, A, B, C, and now we're going to start building impulses to the downside. So
Yeah.
as traders, that's why we need to be defensive and have good risk management.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this could be that B wave as well. When we do take a look at the drop of the last week being in that kind
Yes.
of an A, and
Wanted to
there's been
point
a,
that out.
yeah, this could be a kind of it's a little bit shallow still, no doubt. But yeah,
I would like to see this
a bit
area
more
over here
momentum. Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And this could also be it's basically the same result. It's just a more complex, and all it
Yeah,
means is there's complex
3-3.
correction in each structure, but the end
Mhm.
result is the same. The only difference is with the X wave, you want to at least tap the 618 between the high and the low to confirm that it's definitely an X wave. The problem with the B, though, ever is it can be this, it can be
Oh,
this,
yeah, it can be, yeah, flat. Yeah, yeah.
it can be a flat. Okay. So potentially some of the bearish traders are looking at this as a B wave up. And
Yeah,
that's why I'm
yeah.
saying B waves are also three-wave structures. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, and we're going to start building impulses here to the downside, the B is
Mhm.
in already, and we're going to start tumbling down. Okay.
Absolutely. So basically, in a nutshell, for anybody that has been joining during the last few minutes, I think, that $69,000 range. We got a possible zone of a rejection. You got that lower high from the 18th, 19th of March. You got a daily level that has been untapped. We got the previous all-time high of 2021. You got the 618 Fibonacci from the all-time high to the low. There's just a lot of confluence right at that zone. So it's going to be an interesting level, because it might just be that we this has just been a dead cat bounce scenario, and if depending on that reaction, if we do start forming some very, very sideways momentum at that level, double top scenarios on the lower time frames, it's there could be a very high possibility that this level could reject, no doubt. And what I think, if you do get that massive breakthrough with high volume, will be looking very interesting for the price to gain that momentum to all-time high in the coming weeks if we do get a big move above this level. And on lower time frames, I think the level of interest on this movement down is looking for this three-wave structure, and check the reaction at in between 65 and $66,000, right, which would be in between that 50%, 50%, sorry, Fibonacci 382. Yeah, kind of that zone would be kind of the interesting area that's probably going to be hit in the next coming hours to see how we are forming here this wedgy, descending channel structure from today, which, I think it looks very, very corrective for the moment. I would be very interested in the local double bottoms basically at that zone. Anyway, Devault, thank you very much. I think we're going to wrap it up. We've been here,
Yes.
ages, and it's been very chilled. But thank you very, very much for, your alpha, going through higher time frames, looking at the moon indicator, which is absolutely fascinating. And you basically your technical analysis. No time for. I mean, obviously Bitcoin could already pick up your time and go over an hour just on Bitcoin, because there's so many things and
Yes.
levels to go through. But guys, if you haven't checked out the vault, go and check him out. I also want to talk about here the the K app, which is, I'm in contact, with the team. I know that the Visa card is coming out. This is a crypto Visa card. This is the best on-off ramp to take profits, from crypto to euro. You basically got your own bank account as well. You got your IBAN number here on the K app, which is absolutely fascinating. And there are some nice crypto debit cards outside, that you can use, but they are coming up with this one that is going to have really good fees, really good limits. And I know they are pushing very hard. There's a lot of regulation to get a Visa crypto card. I know it's coming very, very soon, guys. Check out the K app, guys. Best on-off ramp, okay, for crypto and euro, one that I'm using every single week for crypto profits. Anyway, thank you very much for joining everybody. Devote as well. It's been absolutely amazing, a pleasure. We're going to get more live streams rolling once I set up my studio. I'm in an apartment right now, waiting for my visa. It's just absolutely nuts. But anyway, managing to do a little bit of work, a little bit of trading, and a little bit of content, but not as I should be doing. It does look very unprofessional on my side, but it's all an investment, and it's going to be looking absolutely smashing in the next coming weeks. Devault, thank you very much for joining, and I will see
Thanks,
you in
Andy.
in the next one. Thank you.
Absolute legend. See you in the next one. Cheers. Thanks for having me.